The documentary team thought this would be a simple project. They planned to interview a few North Korean defectors, record their painful memories, and show how hard life was after escape. At first, everything seemed normal. Each survivor arrived alone, quiet and careful, carrying years of fear in their eyes. None of them knew each other. None of them were supposed to be connected. The first woman spoke about prison cells, hunger, and people disappearing without warning. The second man talked about beatings, cold nights, and the sound of trucks arriving after midnight. Their stories were dark, but still seemed separate. Then something strange happened. While describing a guard, one survivor repeated a sentence in a low voice. "When the door opens twice, do not look up." The room went silent. Across from her, another survivor suddenly turned pale. His hands began to shake. He whispered that same sentence back to her, word for word. He said only prisoners from one hidden place used those words, a place that officially did not exist. The filmmakers froze. Nobody had shared notes. Nobody had met before. Yet two strangers from different interviews were carrying the exact same secret. Then, a third survivor asked to stop filming. She looked terrified. She said she had heard that phrase too, but only once, on the night her cellmate was taken away and never returned. Now the project was no longer just about survival. It was becoming a puzzle. 3 strangers, 1 sentence, 1 hidden place. And the most chilling part was this. Each of them believed they were the only one left alive who remembered it. After the first shocking connection between the survivors, the documentary team asks a harder question. What happened to the people who were taken away? At first, the answers seem simple. One man says those prisoners were probably executed. Another woman believes they were moved to another prison. A third survivor says nobody really knew, because asking questions inside that place was dangerous. People learned to stay silent if they wanted to stay alive. But the more they talk, the stranger it becomes. They all remember the same pattern. The prisoners were never weak, sick, or close to death. They were always the ones who looked strong. Young men who could still stand straight. Women who still had color in their faces. People who looked like they might survive. That detail changes everything. One survivor remembers a guard walking past the line, not with anger, but with calm eyes, as if he was choosing something. Another says the selected prisoners were told to wash before leaving. That had never happened before. In prison, nobody was treated with care unless there was a reason. Then, an older woman, who had been quiet until now, finally speaks. She says one night her bunkmate was chosen. Before leaving, the girl whispered that she had seen a list earlier that day. Not a punishment list, not a work list, a selection list. The room goes cold. The woman says her bunkmate was 19, healthy, and afraid. She was taken after midnight. No screams, no struggle, just gone. Then comes the twist no one expected. A former prisoner looks up slowly and says he remembers that same list. And he is certain of one thing. The names were not random. They were chosen. After hearing about the selection list, the team begins to look at one survivor differently. Her name is Hannah. Until now, she has said very little. She always sits quietly, avoids eye contact, and looks nervous whenever the others speak about the medical wing. At first, the filmmakers think she is just afraid. Then they notice something strange. Every time someone mentions the people who were taken away, Hannah touches her hands as if she is trying to wash them. When they ask her why, she breaks. Through tears, Hannah says she was not only a prisoner. For a short time, she was forced to work near a sealed part of the prison. She cleaned floors, carried buckets, and moved papers from one room to another. She says she was chosen because she was young, obedient, and too scared to ask questions. Guards warned her that one mistake would get her killed. The room turns cold as she admits the truth. She saw the selected prisoners before they vanished. They were brought into that hidden ward alive. She remembers their faces. She remembers how quiet they were. Worst of all, She remembers carrying thin files with numbers on them, one after another, while pretending not to look. The other survivors are horrified. One man accuses her of helping the prison. Another says she is lying to save herself. Hannah swears she never had a choice. She says she was a prisoner too. Then comes the twist that changes everything. Hannah reveals she once opened one of the files for only a second. Inside was not a name, but a body diagram marked in red. At that moment, everyone realizes the missing prisoners may not have been taken for punishment. They may have been taken for a reason far worse. After Hannah's confession, the whole room changes. Nobody feels safe anymore. The survivors stop looking at each other like victims. Now they look at each other like secrets waiting to explode. That is when the quietest man in the group finally speaks. His name is Minho. Until now, he has said almost nothing. He always listens, watches, and keeps his face still. The filmmakers thought he was shy. The others thought he was broken by trauma. But when Hannah describes the sealed ward, Minho calmly corrects her. He says the hallway had 3 iron doors, not 2. He says the guard outside had a burn mark near his neck. He says the transport truck used to arrive before dawn, never after midnight. Everyone stares at him. How could he know so much? Minho then does something even stranger. He gives the doctor's title, the guard's nickname, and the path prisoners were forced to walk before they disappeared. He remembers tiny details nobody else noticed, like the smell of medicine in the corridor and the sound of keys being counted twice. The filmmakers are stunned. At first, this feels like a breakthrough. Maybe Minho is the missing piece. Maybe he can finally explain what happened in that hidden place. But the more he talks, the more disturbing it becomes. One survivor asks the question nobody wants to ask. If Minho knew this much, why was he never taken? Minho goes silent. Another survivor suddenly accuses him of lying. A third says something worse. Maybe Minho survived because he was never truly a prisoner like the rest of them. The room explodes. Fear turns into suspicion. Trust begins to crack. Then Minho says one sentence that freezes everyone. I was taken there once. And when he came back, he was not alone. After Minho's shocking words, the room is full of fear. Nobody knows what to believe anymore. For a moment, it feels like the truth is finally coming out. The survivors begin connecting details. The same doors, the same late-night trucks, the same prisoners disappearing without a trace. Then everything falls apart. One of the key witnesses, Sun-hee, suddenly changes her story. The day before, she said she heard screams near the medical wing. Now she says she never went near that part of the prison. Before, she claimed she saw a list in a guard's hand. Now she says she only heard rumors from other prisoners. The filmmakers are confused. The other survivors are furious. Hannah is the first to react. She says Sun-hee is lying because she is scared. Sun-hee fires back and says Hannah is the real liar, a woman trying to make herself look innocent after helping the guards. The argument gets worse. Old fear turns into blame. Blame turns into anger. Then Sun-hee says something that changes the whole room. She points at Minho and says she remembers him too well. Not as a prisoner in the cells, but as someone walking freely in a place where prisoners were never allowed to walk. Now everyone turns to Minho. He denies it at first, calmly, too calmly. But Sun-hee keeps going. She says Minho once came back from the sealed ward wearing clean clothes, while the rest of them were starving and dirty. She says he had no bruises, no blood, no fear in his eyes. The room goes silent. For the first time, the filmmakers face a terrifying possibility. What if one of their most important witnesses is not hiding trauma? What if he is hiding a role in the system itself? Just when the case seems ready to collapse, the filmmakers find something that could change everything. One of the researchers brings an old storage drive from a former activist who helped North Korean defectors years ago. Most of the files are damaged. Some are blank. But hidden inside one folder is a single audio recording with no name, no date, and no label. When they play it, the room falls silent. A weak, shaking voice speaks in broken sentences. The person says prisoners were chosen and moved to a place where no one came back whole. The voice also says something even more chilling. The selected prisoners were marked before they were taken, not by crime, not by punishment, by condition. The survivors stare at each other. Hana begins to cry. Minho looks like he already knows the voice. Then comes the first twist. Sunhee says she has heard that voice before. She believes it belonged to a prisoner who was said to be dead long before any of them escaped. If she is right, the tape should not even exist. The team decides to verify it the next morning. But when they return, the original storage drive is gone. Not lost, gone. Only the copied file remains on one editor's laptop. That means someone knew exactly what to take. Now, panic spreads through the group. Nobody knows if the theft came from outside or from someone inside the team. Suspicion turns wild. Every person in the room becomes a possible liar, spy, or traitor. Then Minho says the one thing nobody was ready to hear. The voice on that tape was not a prisoner. He pauses. It was a doctor. After the tape disappears, the team understands one thing. This story is bigger than one prison. At first, they think the missing prisoners were taken only inside the camp system. But then the researchers go back through old notes, old interviews, and damaged files. Hidden between meaningless numbers and broken words, they find the same clue again and again. References to border routes. Not prison blocks, not court orders, routes. One file mentions a truck that never returned to the same camp. Another speaks of a military clinic near a river crossing. A third includes dates that match nights when prisoners vanished, but the locations are outside the prison walls. That changes everything. Hana says she once saw boxes loaded into a truck after selected prisoners were taken away. She thought they were medicine. Minho says the road she described did not lead deeper into the prison zone. It led north, toward the border. Now, the team starts asking a terrifying question. What if the prisoners were not only disappearing into hidden rooms? What if some of them were being moved through a larger network? A former smuggler is contacted in secret. He refuses to say much, but he confirms one chilling detail. Years ago, some transport vehicles moved at night under military protection, and nobody at the checkpoints dared inspect them. The survivors are shaken. This is no longer a mystery about one sealed ward. It may be a chain that links prisons, clinics, officers, and border routes. Then the biggest twist lands. In a torn notebook page, the team finds a single name next to one of the routes. It is not a guard's name. It is the name of someone already inside their investigation. After the torn notebook page is found, the whole investigation changes. The name written beside the border route is someone the team already knows. Nobody says it out loud at first, but the fear is now stronger than ever. The survivors stop trusting one another. The filmmakers begin locking doors, hiding files, and checking every message twice. It feels like the story is no longer about the past. It feels alive. Then, on the night before the most important interview, one of the survivors disappears. It is not Minho, it is not Hana, it is Sunhee. Her room is empty, her phone is gone, her bag is still there. The bed has not been slept in. At first, the team thinks she ran away out of fear. But then they notice something chilling. On the table is a single envelope with no message inside. Only one name, circled in red. The name belongs to someone already close to the investigation. Panic spreads through the group. Hana says Sunhee was taken. Minho says she left on purpose. One of the producers believes she may have been hiding something all along. Another thinks someone inside the team helped her disappear. Then a new twist hits. A witness from the hotel says Sunhee was not alone when she left. She was seen speaking to a man in a dark coat. Nobody saw his face. Nobody saw where they went. Now the question is no longer simple. Did Sun-hee run because she was scared? Was she silenced before she could speak? Or was she playing her own secret game from the beginning? By morning, one thing is clear. The missing survivor may not be the next victim. She may be the next key. After Sun-hee disappears, the group begins to break. Nobody sleeps. Nobody trusts anyone. Every word feels dangerous. The filmmakers know the story is close to a huge truth, but they also know it could collapse at any moment. Then Hana asks to speak alone. At first, she says she cannot carry the secret anymore. Her voice shakes. Her hands will not stay still. The others think she is going to confess that she helped the guards choose prisoners. But her truth is even worse. Hana admits that on one night, she did more than carry files. She read them. Not fully, not every page, but enough. She says the files had numbers, body marks, and short notes. Healthy, strong, no fever, good condition. She thought they were medical records. She forced herself to believe that. It was the only way to stay sane. Then comes the twist that tears the room apart. Hana says one file had a real name written inside by mistake. Not a prisoner number. A name. And she remembers that name because she heard it later, whispered in the women's cell. It belonged to Sun-hee's older brother. The room explodes. Sun-hee had spent the entire investigation accusing others, changing her story, and hiding parts of the truth. Now everyone understands why. She was not only afraid of the prison, she was searching for someone. Hana breaks down completely. She says she wanted to forget that name. She tried to bury it for years, but she cannot anymore. Then the final shock lands. At the bottom of that same file, Hana saw one more word. Transferred. Not dead. Transferred. Just when the group thinks the truth has died with Sun-hee's disappearance, a final message appears. It is not a phone call, not a letter. It is a recorded video sent from an unknown account and timed to arrive after everyone has almost given up. The team gathers in silence and plays it. Sun-hee is on the screen. She looks tired, frightened, and more honest than ever before. She says she did not run away because she wanted to betray them. She ran because she finally understood what her brother's file really meant. Transferred did not mean saved. It meant moved into a deeper part of the system, a place hidden so well that even most guards did not know it existed. Then comes the twist that changes everything. Sun-hee says the survivors were never supposed to fully disappear. A few of them were left alive on purpose, not out of mercy, not by accident. They were released in broken pieces, carrying fragments of memory, fear, names, numbers, and small details they did not understand. The system did not just destroy people, it used survivors as living storage, scattering the truth across human minds, so no single witness could expose the whole thing. The room goes still. Now Hana's file, Minho's memories, the missing tape, the border route, Sun-hee's brother, it all fits together. But Sun-hee saves the cruelest truth for last. She says there is one more witness still alive. Someone who has been with them from the start. Someone who already knows far more than they have admitted. The video cuts off, and every eye in the room slowly turns toward Minho.